Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. It's Wendy here from Little Nest Crafts. Thank you for joining me today, and I want to introduce you to Teris Crafty Christmas. And this is Teri's second annual collaboration event for the Christmas period, and it runs from December the 1st to December the 31st 2025, and it's hosted by Sweet Pea Papers. There's lots of giveaways, there's 25 prizes, lots of freebies, and 40 collaborators are going to be taking part, and they've created above 55 YouTube videos and video series, and hopefully if you're following along, you'll get lots of inspiration, you know, for your crafting projects. Now, to follow along, if you put in hashtag Teris Crafty Christmas 25, that will enable you to see everybody's videos, because we're actually putting that hashtag when we're posting on YouTube. And also there is another link as well. If you go to Linktree, Teris Crafty Christmas 25, all of the videos will be listed down there, because Teri's going to incorporate them all into that link. So I'll leave this on the screen so that you can take a Photoshop, because that's got all the information that you need. It tells you there, look, it's her second annual event, and all about the collaborators and the videos, and the freebies and prizes, and giving you information about weekly challenges. And to follow those challenges, you'll need to go over to Teri's Facebook groups and you know, follow along there, and I'll give you details of those in a minute. So what you're going to be seeing, this is our calendar, and there's going to be 2 crafters every day posting their videos, and mine is actually due on Christmas Day. So I did put an introduction video out at the beginning of December, and if you're watching now, it's the 25th, and we're going to be actually making the project. So I'm going to be paired up with Junk Journal Haven by Glitz Glamour Glam, and so please hop along to her channel as well to see what delights she's bringing you on this Christmas Day. And seeing as it's Christmas Day, without further ado, I'm going to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, and I hope that you've had a fantastic day. Because if you are watching this video, it's probably in the evening, because you'll have been far too busy with children and family and cooking and etc, etc, the usual things that happen on Christmas morning. So I hope that you've had a blessed time, and yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed your time with family, and hopefully you're now having time to relax, time to watch this video. And yeah, I hope that you like what you see. So the kits that go along with this project are absolutely stunning. And what happened was, lots of the participants, a lot of the collaborators actually donated freebie kits for us to work with, and I've chosen this lovely, I'm just trying to find my little information sheet, and this kit has come from Lenny's Paper Treasure, and it's her Christmas red kit, and it's absolutely stunning. As you can see, these are just 2 of the background sheets, and I just fell in love with them when I saw them. Lovely and vintagey, which is right up my street. And it also came with lots of lovely ephemera. So I've left that large size, and then what I've done is I've put 2 to a page to print them out a bit smaller for my little project. So you need to, you know, if you want to join in, please go over to Lenny's website, and you'll be able to access the freebie and you know, help yourself and go and fussy cut all your papers and everything in readiness. Now, going back to the housekeeping side of things, and the information, in order for you to join in the challenges, which are taking place on the 1st of December, the 7th of December, the 14th of December and the 21st of December. In actual fact, when you get this video, all these all these challenges will actually be finished. So I hope that you've enjoyed them. And yeah, no, that's thrown me off a little bit, because it's always a bit awkward when you're forward recording your videos. So I'm not going to give you any more information about those, because you'll have been following along, and it's 3/4 of the way through this lovely Christmas collaboration, and you'll have had all the information that you need. So without further ado, then, in that case, we'll go on, and I'm going to fussy cut out all of my papers. This is another one of the background sheets, a lovely plaid, and some more of the tags, and this piece as well. And you can see that I've actually used this image from here. So I'm going to go away now, and I'm going to fussy cut, and I'll come back and we'll make a start on this project. But before we do that, I better show you what we're going to be making, because if you haven't seen my first video at the beginning of December, you won't know. But what we're going to be doing is making this lovely card, and it's not only a card, it's it can be a journal topper. And as you can see, what I've done is I've used like a sheet like this, and I've just cut it straight down the middle and folded it in half, and that's given me my card, because that should be opened up like that. I can't open it fully because it's got workings inside. And then I've cut these down, and I've used them on the inside of my card. And what will happen is, as if by magic, it opens up and you get a lovely pop out card there, and I hope that you can actually see that. So what we're going to be doing is making this mechanism in here, and I'm going to give you some information that no matter what size card you make, so you can make a small card, or you can make you know, an even bigger card, and the principle will actually be the same to make the mechanism to go inside. So I'll be right back once I've actually finished my fussy cutting. Right, everybody, that's all my fussy cuts done, and we'll just decide which piece we're going to use for our next card. And I think it's going to have to be this one, because I adore that little boy image on there. So I'll put these all to one side for a sec, and what we're going to do is fold our main piece of card in half and score, and I'm just going to use my scissors to burnish, and that's our working piece. And all I've done with these papers is I've backed them onto one of my coffee dyed pages, and this was taken from an antique book of mine. And we're going to pop this on the inside. Now, as you can see, unlike the one that I used for this, where the background image was the same size as this, this has been done slightly differently. So we're going to glue that down on there and cut off this excess. So we'll get that done now, and all I'm going to do is use some of my PVA glue and glue all the way down. To the bottom. There we go. Try and get fairly close to the edge so we get no curling up bits. There we go. And oh, excuse me, there's my door. 1 second. So, sorry about that, that was just my postie. Lovely. Oops a daisy, try and keep it straight. And then we'll just trim the excess off here. You could actually leave it on and put some more paper, you know, like a border round it, or, you know, if you print a different thing on the back, you'd have a border on either side. But I don't want it, so I'm going to cut it off. And then what we want to do is just score down the middle section. So when I can find what I've done with my ruler, there we go, and get my little score tool, because I want it to be nice and crisp, but it won't be very crisp at the moment because obviously the glue will still be wet. So we'll pop it to one side to dry in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just score along there. I'm just going to do it lightly for now. Not press too hard. Just to make sure that that is going to be in half. And it is, I think. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my ruler as my bone folder. Laziness on my behalf. And there we go. We've got the makings of our card. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Now then, what I have also done is I've printed off a spare sheet of the paper, and what I've done is I've used this as my backing sheet, and I've done the same again, printed my coffee dyed on the back, and this is what we're going to use to make our mechanism for inside the card, the little pop out bit there. So what you do is you actually just need to take the measurements of your card here, the back, just the one side in here, and I'll tell you what this measures now that I've cut it down, but it doesn't matter whatever size card you make. Now this is just over 3 3/4 inches, so it's just 1/8 of an inch under the 4 inches widthways, and then lengthways we've got same again, just 1/8 of an inch under 6 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 1/2 inch off this measurement. So if we call it 4 inches, I'm going to go to 3.5 inches. So bear that in mind. And then we'll write that down so I don't forget. Just on a scrap piece of paper. We're having a crafter lunch. So I've got 3.5 inches width, and then lengthwise we've got 6 say just call it 6 inches. So we've got, take 1/2 inch off, we've got 5.5 inches there. Now what we want to do is double this long measurement. So we said 5.5 inches, so we want an 11-inch piece of card, and this is actually 10 inches. So it'll actually be great, because what happens is when you actually double it, if you double it in size, these long bits, this long bit here and here, will actually come down to the bottom of your card. So your actual pop out will be longer sticking out the card. So what I did, I cut 1 inch off these bottom pieces. So if I say that this is 11 inches, I'm going to take off 1 inch. So that would make the piece that I need 10 inches long, and we might adjust it at the end. So as you can see, that is roughly 10 inches. And then what I'm going to do is make it 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to keep the length there, turn it round, measure 1.5 inches, or there is, damn it, on there, and put a little mark there and a little mark down the bottom for 1.5 inches down to there. And I'm going to draw a line, make them two join up, and then I'm going to cut that out with my scissors. So we've got a 10-inch strip by 1.5 inches. So if you're going to do an A6 card like me here, or roughly an A6, then you know, this will be fine. So then what you want to do then, I'm just going to pop that over one side to dry a little bit. So what we want to do then is fold this strip in half. So we're going to fold it in half there. Now this is the piece that's lengthwise, don't forget, the longest piece. And then what we want to do is keeping this centre line in the middle, we want to fold this piece. Oh, tell a lie. What we need to do then is fold it in half lengthways. I'd forgotten about that, sorry. So fold it in half lengthways, all the way end to end. Whoops-a-daisy, not making a very good job. Try and keep it. That's better. So same again, make your score lines lovely and crisp, and the same as the centre one there, make that lovely and crisp. And then what you want to do then is fold your piece upwards or downwards, it doesn't really matter. But keeping this part in the middle where it crosses central. So I'm looking for that little centre piece on there and there. and folding this down. Wait a minute, where are we? Let me do it upwards, see if I can do it better that way first. I'm looking for the crossover point, there it is. Keeping that straight. And here is the point where it crosses over. So you want to score that. And then you want to do the same the other side by, wait 1 second, turning it over and then folding this side down and keeping, I'm just trying to find where it crosses. There we go. Keeping it nice and straight and folding that down there. So when you open it up, you've got a cross coming through the centre point there. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just going to score those again, like so. There we go. And then what you want to do then is it sort of finds its own way and bring it round, pushing that piece out at the back. One second. Right, just to recap, when you're folding it, you fold it in half and then you fold one side up and then you fold the other side down like that, or down and up, it's up to you. So once you've got that, I flip it over and then bring your sides together, and it does need a little bit of manipulating. Sometimes it goes together better. And bringing your sides in, so you're pinching the ends together like so, and then just press down and you end up with something like that. Now if it doesn't fold flat, just manipulate it again with your bone folder, and then this gives us our pop-up mechanism for our card. So I'm going to move this out the way and then we'll glue this into our card. Now as you can see, if I'd used a 12-inch piece of paper, this would have come right the way down to the bottom. It's a little uneven there, not that it matters, but it does matter to my eye. So I'm just going to snip that little bit off, and then what we're going to do is glue this into the centre of our card. So I'm just going to have a little bit over there and a little bit over there. There's my 2-inch centre point, and then I'm going to not go right into the crease, but a little bit down from the crease. So we'll get our glue and we'll pop some glue on there. I'm going to try not to put too much on because I don't want it splodging out all onto my upper piece of my card. And then we'll just apply a bit of pressure on there, just to give it time to grab. And then I'm going to turn my card over. Hopefully that's taken a little bit there. And then I'm going to do the same here. Trying not to put lots of big splodges of glue so it comes out, but you want enough to make sure that it adheres to the upper piece. And there we go. making that little mechanism there is the worst part of this card, but even that, it's simple. You know, it's just remembering to fold it in half lengthways, fold it in half widthways, and then do those 2 diagonal lines by folding it over across the center line, going down, and then folding it across the center line going up. And here we go, look, you've now got your card mechanism. And it's nice because on the back you've got, rather than have white paper, your plain is on the inside and your patterned is on the outside, so when you see the card it blends nicely with your card. So now I'm going to judge whether that is too long to my eye, my little pop-up. I might take a little bit off there, but now we're going to make our piece here that actually holds our little tags. So with that, what you do is you need to judge what size tags you're going to use, or what size ephemera you're going to use. So if you're using larger tags like these, you need to have a wider piece of card. So I'm just wondering whether to experiment or whether to stick with the same piece that we've got, the same as what we've got. And yes, I will, because what I've done is I've backed my tags onto smaller card. So I've got my little tag pieces here, and they're all already cut out. I've got 4 little tags there, and these are all already cut out to slot in my pockets. So I've got plenty there to be, you know, wanting to join from. Now these pieces, I've actually kept some of them a little bit larger to make these little pockets, because they are actually the tags, you know, from the kit. So let me have a look. You know, these, you know, to make your little pockets there. So what have we got? We've got some tartan pieces. How many tartan bits have we got? We've got 1, 2, there's a rose piece, 3, and we want another plainish piece, 4. There's a piece with text. 1, 2. There you go. There's them 5 pieces there. So we'll put those all to one side there. Keep my innards to one side as well. And we'll concentrate on here. So with this piece, I made it 1.5 inches wide, and we wanted it as wide as the card here. So we said that was, with measurements, 3.5, so that would be 7 inches. 7 inches wide. Let me just see if we've got what we've got there. Yeah, it's more or less 7 inches wide. So I'm going to fold that down again, pop that over to there, and we'll measure this. See, that's only just over 5 inches wide. So we're going to have to come, same again, we're going to have to go lengthways. So I'm going to go 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches. There we go. And I'm going to do another strip because I've got another card to do. So we may as well cut them both. Have I done 1.5 inches there? Yeah. I'm fooling myself for a minute. 1.5. 1.5. Fold this down. There we go. So we'll cut those 2 strips out and I'll put one to one side because I'll be making another one. One and 2. So that's my length. Let me just see what the width of this is. We've got 2-inch strip by 10 inches. I'm just wondering, we could have 2 5-inch strips, couldn't we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 6-inch strip. No, stick with our original plan. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, we'll move that to one side. We're going to go with our 1.5 inch strip, and it is, we said that's 10 inches, didn't we? So that's too long. We said 7 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 7 inches, which is double our 3.5 inch measurement there. So we'll go 7 inches, 7 inches, and cut across there. Pop that in our scrap box. And then what we do with this is we fold it in half. Fold it in half. And then we fold this side on the right into the left, just butting up to the halfway score mark. And we do the same with this side. Fold that in, and I've not cut that very straight, I don't think, just a tiny little smidgen that will take off there. So we'll score those there and there, and the difference is we don't have to score this, we don't have to fold this part in half. Now, these sections here will actually make your, where you're going to put your little pockets. So with these, what I did, I took one of my tags and I measured this little pocket. Let me fold it over and do it this way. I measured this little pocket, and I scored down with my pencil, and I cut a section off, and I cut it just this side of the pencil mark there, and it doesn't matter about cutting that tag shaped. take that away. And then what I did, I folded my tag in half, like so. Scored that down. And then this makes your first little pocket, like so. Now then, as you can see, this is a little bit big, so I'm going to take a little bit more off and fold that down. So if I snip there, and then I'm going to fold this down a little bit more. But this gives your pocket added strength. So what's my mechanism like there? I'm just having a look what I did on this one. Yeah, I used the pattern. I used the pattern side to the front. So we've got, yeah, I used different. So we're just going to pop that one to one side a minute. And we're going to do the same with this one. So I'm going to just cut along there where the top of this finishes. Cut them both off. Keep that because that can be used as ephemera, and then fold this over. And that's our first little pocket along there. Now I'm not going to glue this one down because I'm going to use this as my measure, and it'll help me, you know, make my pockets all of the same. So we'll do that. I mean, if you don't want them all the same depth, then that's fine. So I'm going to pop that on there, cut this across here, and I've just had a brainwave, which is always good. Keep my brain exercised. Let me just mark where I want to put my fold on this tag. There. And there. It's just to help me gauge roughly. There we go. There we are. So now I'm going to glue this down. And we're going to glue this one down. And where's those two pieces? Now these two should be roughly the same because we've taken them off this tag. So I'm going to use those parts as pockets, and it gives it a bit of added interest because it's got the fluted edge. There we go. So what we'll do is we'll pop this on this side. Or should we have it in the centre? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that side there. So we'll glue this pocket down, and what I'm going to do is just round these corners. And I've got my, excuse my arm, I've got my little corner rounder there. So just the bottom corners. And because I've done that, I'm going to give that corner an ink. And then we'll score this down with my ruler to make it nice and crisp. And it's strengthened the corner by folding it over. And we'll glue our first pocket in, like so. That's that one. And then we'll do the same with this one. So this pocket isn't quite as strong, so you could actually back it and cut it out. But because it's only a tiny little piece of ephemera that's going in it, I'm going to leave it. So we've got that. And then we've got our second pocket here. And same again, give it a nice burnish and do the corners. Do my inking. And then we'll glue this one down. And we'll put that in there. There we go. And then we're going to take our top of our tag there and we'll pop that in on that end square. And we'll pop that there. And let that dry a second. Now then, this is the time if you want to put any lace on or anything like that. And I'm just wondering what we could do. But here's our ephemera. So we'll have a look. I've got quite a few pieces cut out. And I'm just going to get my trusty nail file. Says she. No, I'll get my letter opener. And what I'm going to do is just go inside these pockets, make sure the glue hasn't spread so that we can get our tags in. Not pressing too hard, but just to make sure that the pockets are nice and free. There we go. So let's have a look what we like. We could have that little one in there. Oh, we've got this lovely little boy. Gosh, isn't he gorgeous? I think I might want to put that one in the end. If it's big enough. Or maybe on the end of that one. Might be a slightly roomy. There we go. That one might be wide enough to have two in. Yep, that looks nice. And then what else have we got? We've got another one here. And I do like these with the... and put our little boy in there. Just have a look. Or maybe like that. could actually put 2 in there, couldn't you? You've got 2 in that one, or that one's very similar to the thing, so we could put a tartan one in there. Or, oh no, that's nice. One with a rose in. Yeah. Let's have a look. I quite like that. Let's have a, you know, but have a play. Oh, he looks cute in there too, doesn't he? Yeah, there's 2 in there. How about, I quite like those in there. Him in there with, just looking to see what other tags we had in the smaller versions, and I think that's it. Or you could even put a little Christmas bauble in that one and have a bauble coming out the pocket. Yeah, I think I'm sold at that. So now we need to position it in our card. Still looking for little bits of ephemera to go on these, and these pieces of ephemera are from my stash from another collaboration that I did, and they've got some little bits of washi here. Let's have a look. Washi, or what have we got? We've got a nice Christmas piece of cake. We've got a little Santa Claus there. So have a look through your stash as well. Got another Santa there. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, he looks cool, doesn't he? And we've got some florals there, which I could put in the middle. Maybe have a bit of that going down the bottom. That's a little bit of washi. Well, there's some washi there with some ribbons on. That's quite nice. Or another Santa. I don't want to cover up the text on that. Just wondering if there's a to and a from. Oh, I tell you what I have got. I'll keep that little Santa. Keep that little Santa, and I've actually done a sentiment. So we've got Santa's sleigh. That looks a bit lost on there. Maybe put Santa's sleigh there. And where's the other one? Santa's sleigh, and which can go on that one. Yeah. And holly berry on that one. Do I want that Santa or do I want that one? Yeah, the first one, I think. Oh, we could put 2 on there. Yep, that'll do. Sold. So we're going to just ink this Santa down the bottom to hide the white. And do that. And we'll just glue him straight down. And then this one, do I need a bit of tulle underneath that one? Just a little smidgen. We've got some tulle there with a bit of like a snowflake on it, so we'll put that down there. And we'll pop that there. Not to get my tweezers really, but where there's a will, there's a way. And our sentiment. Now, I'm not going to glue that on just yet because I want to put some gold trim round. So maybe another bit of tulle, because we've put tulle on there. We'll give it a little bit on this other side, along there. And our cake can go down there. Let's have a look. And I'm going to use Faber-Tac, which I should have done there really, because normally when I'm putting fabric on, I like to use Faber-Tac. So we'll put that on there, and then we'll get our cupcake. There we are. So these are from my stash. There we go. And I've already inked around my words. So all I need to do now is get our gold pen. So you can do either gold or silver. I've done gold on this other one, and these are just chrome markers, high gloss liquid chromium, and it's a bit hit and miss as to whether it inks or not. And I just need to get a bit of a scrap paper so that we can ink on the back. And what I do generally is I put my little words on because they're so tiny, and I'll go around the edge like this, just holding it down. And they're a bit hit and miss, these pens. Sometimes the ink flows out lovely, and then sometimes it Takes a bit of coaxing. So there's one. And where did we put the other one? Oh, where's he gone now? Let's pop this one on before we lose it. Oops, a day. So we've got Holly Berry, and we're going to pop him down there. And then we've got Santa's sleigh. There we go. Oops. And I don't mind if it's wonky. Oh, see there how it's all puddled out? So that's the second bit. And we'll get that glued and stuck down. Go. And typical, I've got my wordage the wrong way around, and we'll pop him up there. Today I'm gonna have to go over that snowflake. There we go. So let's have a look at that. Now, is there anywhere else that needs a bit of gold on? And what I think I'll do is I go around the edges of these cards. And we can also use that ink there. And it just gives them a bit of Christmas glitz. And it's very quick drying, so go. And as you can see there, look, it's lovely. So we can pop that back in, that one, and then this one, same again. We'll go around the edges. Oops. And then here I'm just going to do a few little splodges. To give it a bit of added sparkle at the top. And then our little boy, just carefully go around the edges of his card there. Make it a bit more opulent. There we go. How lovely is that? And then we'll do our bauble as well. And a bit on the bottom. And around the top there. And just go around the edge. Here we are. And then last one, these two little ones here. And a bit on the top. And the same on this little one. Go around the edge. I just find that putting it on your car, or you know, on your desk, you can sort of butt up to the edge and it helps you go straighter. And then what we'll do is we'll make some little holes in the, put some little eyelets in and put some thread in. So I've got my little eyelet maker, hole punch, my crocodile, and he's clogged up. There we go. And he's too big. I suddenly remembered I got a smaller hole punch out. That's my thread. And I've got this little one here. And I've got my eyelets. So this is a real tiny one. I don't know what the hole punch size is. Try and get in the middle if I can. And I think with these, because I've backed it with card, that I just made a little bow, if I remember. By tying a little bow in the top. Whoops-a-daisy. More fingers and thumbs. And then we'll pull that down, cut that off. And then we'll pull the other side out as well. Tighten our little bow. So there we have, and it just needs manipulating a little bit. There we go. So we have our little ribbon in there. Let's tuck that behind. If it won't sit, if you just put a little bit of your glue behind, pull it round to the front, and there we go. it just helps it settle down a little bit. There we go. Pop that in there. Pop our bauble at the back, and then we'll put a little hole in this card. And same again, but this time I'm just going to do that because we've got a bow already on the front of this little tag. So I'm just going to thread that through there with my tweezers. Oops, missed one. There we go, and trim those down a bit. Pop that behind there. And then we want the same again in this one. A little hole in the front there. Another little bit to poke through. And because I've used strong backing card, I don't really feel it needs to have the eyelets in, because they are quite substantially thick. Oops, today. Get my card through there, my ribbon, twine, and that piece through there. There we go. So that's in there. I don't feel that needs a piece in the back. And then we want to do this bit here as well. So we'll same again. Pop that through there. There we go. Trim that off as well. So there we have our strip ready for our card. Just get rid of those, clean my desk a little bit, and then we'll glue it in. And that's the way it's going to be into the onto the inside of the card. So you've got your mountain in your valley, so that your mountain's in the middle section, and then open up your card, and then what you want to do is you put a bit of glue on this corner, and what I'm going to do now is hold that onto there and this onto here, and I'm going to see whether this comes out too much, and if you see there, I think it does. So what I'm going to do is just fold that back a little bit, and I'm going to take about an inch off there. And that's a bit more manageable there, I think. So I'm going to hold that onto there and hold this onto here and then see when it pops out. Yeah, that's much better. So make sure that you're going to glue it the right way up. And then what you want to do is, and I'm going to use my PVA glue for this. You want to put some glue on this top section here. And glue the top section of your card there. So lining it up with the background piece, try and make it straight and pinch that down. Till you feel that it's grabbed. And then you go to your other section and you put glue on this bottom half here. Just about 1/2 inch square. And then you glue that to the bottom half of this card over here. And then you hold it till it holds. Let's have a look. I'm just making sure I've told you right. Yeah. Bottom section, top section. And then we'll fold that in. And you have to help it along a little bit to help it flatten out. And just flatten it down inside your card. And there we go, there we have it. And I think that's great, isn't it? And then we've got this little section here. But because of this image on the back, I don't feel that this now is right for it unless I backed it onto something. So I'm just wondering, you could actually put a pocket. You could put a pocket in there and have a side tuck. So that might be nice. There, look. Or what other pocket is there? There's this one where we've got 2 boys and girls. And we could have that poking out over the top. Yeah, I might do that. And have a little side tuck there. And then you could put a gift card or something in, couldn't you? I've got an even larger pocket there, image. It's a shame to hide the poinsettia, really. No, I like the poinsettia. So I might just leave that for a moment till I decide what I'm going to do. I'm just looking at what pieces I've got here. Oh. Don't suppose it looks too bad. Maybe if I put a piece of tulle behind it. Let's have a look. Yeah, it probably just needs something to lift it a little bit. But I'll leave that for a minute. We'll let that dry and then we'll just tackle the front. Now what I did, I had some ribbon in my stash and I put this, just wondering if that would look okay in there with the poinsettias. An option, it's an option. But I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same with this card as I did with the other one by gluing this down on the front. And I'm just looking again. Would that go behind? Would that go behind there? No, I like the clean look. So we'll do that. Pop that onto there. Try and get it fairly central. Right, I've managed to find some nice thin ribbon, but it's very, very bright and I felt it was too bright for this piece. So what I've done is I've got an alcohol marker and I've just run it along the ribbon. These are my odd Spectrum Noirs. Oops, let me get the wider edge. And all I've done is run it along to darken it down a smidgen. And we're going to make a bow now for this front of this card. So let's have a look if I can remember, and I probably need to do a bit more. There we go. Hopefully that's going to be enough. So I've got nice inky fingers now. Whoops-a-daisy. Trying to get it to go through the loop. Where would I be without my tweezers? There we go. Turn that the right way. And I want that knot to be a little flatter so it sticks well to the card. There we go, just flatten it down a bit like that. And And then there we go. Get rid of my scrap, and then we'll pop that on the front there, like so. Try and remove the excess. That's it. We've got it. There we are. So there we have the front, and then we have this to go inside, and I will put it in. I've decided that it doesn't look too bad, and I just want to gold round my edges again. So get my scrap piece of card and just go over the bottom here. And here you can write, you know, with love from, or, and I'm just going to put a few gold splashes here and there. There we go, and then we'll glue that on. And prior to doing that, I'm going to gold around the edges. So same as we did before, button up on my card. And going around the edges, and I will speed this up. And I have sort of done it broader in the corners. Oops. Put a little bit more this side. And it just rounds the corners a bit. There we go. And I'm going to put a bit on the insides as well, seeing as it's Christmas. And it just finishes the card off a little bit. And a bit on the top section as well. And a little bit around here. we go. So all we've to do now is to glue in our little label at the bottom, and just going to err on the side of not caution, but in case I change my mind and want to make a little tuck spot, I'm going to do that. Pop that down there. And then if I want to put a little tag inside there, I can do. So that's it, everybody. I do hope that you like this project, and that you'll go away and try it. Please go over to May's Made It Crafts to have a look at how she's done her mechanisms, and that's who I've followed. And also I got the inspiration from Marie over at Crafty Landing, who made a fabulous one, and her method was along the same principles, but obviously she did different measurements. So please pop along to Marie's YouTube page as well, and you'll see her lovely make, and also follow along with the rest of the collaboration of Teris Crafty Christmas 25. And thanks again, Teri, for inviting me. I've had great fun watching everybody's projects, and I hope that everybody else has too. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the new year. Enjoy the rest of this Christmas period, and I wish everybody a happy new year, and enjoy the rest of your Christmas day. So until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll say bye for now. Bye.